Game over, man. It's game over.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Nostal-Ged. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so let's do a top 10 favourite gaming list. And we have got a great one, the N64. The mid to late 90s was probably the most important in gaming history. Sony released the greatest console ever made, the PlayStation. Microsoft was years off from making the Xbox, and Sega had bombed bad. They had the Saturn and the Dreamcast, which I love, but they didn't do great. But there was one console that could stand up and go toe-to-toe with the PlayStation, and it was the Nintendo 64. It cannot be understated just how brave Nintendo were with the N64. Every console was moving on to disc, and the games were being targeted at a much older audience. But Nintendo, they held their nerve and they did what they do best. Making fun, family-friendly, cartridge-based games. That's right, cartridges. I bloody love the N64. So let's get this countdown on, my top 10 favourite N64 games. And a quick side note before you guys take to the comment section to lynch me, you will not see a Zelda game in this list. Shock horror, I have never played a Zelda game in my life. Right, let's get into it. N64 list, let's go. We all had Star Fox on the SNES. It was a staple of our childhood. Now it was back and it was out on the N64. And it not only lived up to its predecessor, it bettered it. Star Fox 64 is the greatest Star Fox game there is. Period. Now let's all say it together. Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
Okay, so I know that standards now are not the same as they were in the mid-90s, and I'm not supposed to like something like Juke Nukem. It's sexist, crude, outdated stereotypes of what male chauvinism was and what it still can be. But I played this game last week and I still freaking love it. I don't care if it makes me look like a dinosaur, it's still one of my favourites. Shooting an alien monster with a bazooka in a strip club and then spouting one of Duke's one-liners. It's epic. It's just epic.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
I bloody love a game based on a TV show. They aren't always the greatest quality, but as a kid, when you hear you're going to get to play a game based on Power Rangers, Simpsons, Rugrats, nothing gets a kid's hype more than that. And in the late 90s, when the N64 came out, South Park ruled the world. It was everywhere. I love this game so much. It was a first-person shooter where you could pick which of the boys you got to be. I mean, you're always going to pick Cartman, right? Shooting mutant turkeys and clone versions of Stan with a cow launcher or Terrence and Phillip grenades. It was a simpler time, but such a happier time.
I need about 350.
Yo, Super Smash Brothers, this was the stuff of dreams as a kid. Getting to see Mario, Link, Kirby, Pikachu, Fox, battle it out on all sorts of levels from games that you loved from your childhood. This is number 1 in a lot of people's books, so why is it only number 7 for me? I really wanted to put this higher, but I couldn't. I never actually owned this game when I was growing up. When you'd be having a sleepover at your friends, this is the game you brought your joypad so you could all play together. But just not when the sleepover was at my crib. Always wanted it, never had it, but always loved it. I spoke at length about my love for this game in my top 10 favourite Star Wars games, so I'm not going to go into it too much here, but I love Star Wars, and this was Mario Kart for Star Wars fans. If you were there that summer in 1999 when Phantom Menace was released, you'll get it. No film has ever had a bigger release. People make a big deal out of the Marvel films, but when Phantom Menace came out, you could not leave the house and not see it. It was on buses, cans of Coke, it was on TV, chocolate bars, and yes, there were Phantom Menace computer games. Great ones. This game takes me back to that summer in 1999, and I love it.
Boom!
Who doesn't love Mario Kart? I mean, I love Mario Kart Deluxe on the Switch. The Wii version is probably my favourite Mario Kart. But if someone says to me, Mario Kart 64 is the best Mario Kart, it is hard to argue with that. It was such a big deal when it came out on the N64. We were getting to play Mario Kart in 3D, and there were so many levels and so many characters. But the most important thing that Mario Kart gave us on the N64 was those 4 ports. Now you and your boys could all bring your joypads and 4 of you could play Mario Kart at the same time. Incredible. GoldenEye on the N64 is in everybody's top 10. It made every game that came out after adjust and add a multiplayer. And I love the multiplayer, even though my 2 big brothers would always beat me. But for me, the actual gameplay, the levels, I spent so much time completing this game. The levels are amazing, the weapons are amazing, the gadgets, that soundtrack. If you were to go up to strangers in the street and ask them to talk about an N64 game, most of them are going to bring up this game. You have any idea how mad that is? A Nintendo console and the most iconic game isn't a Mario game. That's insane. I have to admit, I was a bit late to the Pokemon craze. I never had the OG Pokemon games on the Game Boy. It wasn't until Pokemon the Show was being shown on SMTV on Saturday mornings and the cards were all in the playground and this game came out that I got into Pokemon. But once I was hooked, I was hooked. I was so happy when this was part of the N64 package on the Switch. It took me back to being 11, having stacks and stacks of Pokemon cards. I had no idea what to do with them. And having a crush on Jessie from Team Rocket that I still don't understand. I love this game to this day, but I love it for the memories it gives me. Having your friends around on a Friday night, going to Blockbuster, having a chippy supper, and then playing the mini games on Pokemon Stadium. This holds such a special place in my heart.
That attack is totally ineffective!
What? What?
You guys know I love me some wrestling and I love me some gaming. So anytime I'm going to do a list like this, you can bet you're going to see a wrestling game and you can bet it's going to be ranked pretty damn high. However, I think this time it's pretty warranted. Not only is WrestleMania 2000 one of the best N64 games ever, it's also one of the greatest wrestling games ever. I could literally talk for hours on this game, the customizable features, the soundtrack, but it's really, really simple why it ranks so high. A game released at the height of the Attitude Era, with the best wrestling engine ever made for a computer game. This makes the top 10 easily, but it's not my favourite N64 game. You know, sometimes when I'm doing these lists, they're hard to put together. For example, I didn't even get the chance to talk about Bomberman, Ready to Rumble, Mario Party, Banjo-Kazooie. But when it came down to number 1, it really was easy. I don't think I've ever had an easier number 1 to pick than Mario 64. You could have guessed it from the title of the video, and it wasn't even close. Super Mario 64 is everything a Mario game should be. Fun, challenging, have great characters, great levels, and most important thing that any Mario game should do. All great Mario games build upon their predecessors. Perfect example, Mario 2 following on from Mario 1. Now you can play as multiple characters and pick stuff up. Mario 3, now Mario could fly. Moving on to the SNES with Super Mario World, now you could ride Yoshi. And Mario 64, more than any other game in the franchise, took the biggest leap. Now it was in 3D, the graphics were beautiful, the gameplay was smooth. And it needed to be. As we mentioned, PlayStation was slaying it, and Nintendo needed Mario more than ever. And as ever, Mario didn't disappoint. He is now, and always will be, the greatest gaming icon of all time. And there you have it, top 10 favourite N64 games. This was such a fun list to put together. I love my N64 and always have done. But was it too obvious? Should Mario be number 1? Do I put more respect on GoldenEye? Are the Zelda games really worth playing? I think I just started too late. It's so many Zelda games, I can't catch up. Please let me know in the comment section. It's my favourite thing to see your guys' favourites. Because remember, this is top 10 favourites, not top 10 best. Nostal-Ged is your channel as much as it is mine. I want to hear your opinion. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? And what do you want to see next? We've done 2 of these now. I've done PlayStation and I've done N64. Do you want to see another top 10 list for a console? Which console? We haven't done PS2, we haven't done GameCube, we could do SNES, we could do a Mega Drive. Let me know. We are well and truly into 2024 now, so the only thing left for me to say is Happy New Year, and let's all kick 2024's ass.
This is KTIT, K-Tit, playing the best tunes in town.